Welcome to SkyTech Enterprise Solutions. In today's video, we take a look at uh, an app we created in our last video using the using the regenerative AI component or feature in PowerApps, which is called CoPilot. So we basically use CoPilot to create an app. And in this case, as you can see, this is a sales lead app. Uh, and if you go back to our last video, you'll see exactly the steps we took in creating this app. Few things I wanted to point out regarding this app is that the data source is a is built in Dataverse instead of any other data source. So that could be a SharePoint list or an Excel spreadsheet sitting in OneDrive, right? Or SQL Server or Oracle Server or any of the, tens and tens of data sources available to Power Apps. Now, in order for me to edit this app, um, well, it looks like I did have the app open somewhere else, so I was getting this message about this app being in read-only mode. But I'm just gonna go ahead and refresh it again, refresh the screen, just so the app can load properly. Okay, so there we go. So here I'm gonna click on override to basically take control of this app. All right. Um, let's see what's going on here. Right. So something I wanted to point out yesterday is that the text for this header is saying sales leads. And the reason why it says sales leads is because our data source, in this case, our Dataverse table, is called sales leads, right? So we can absolutely come in here and uh, comment out this, and this is just basically a text property of that header label. So instead of naming it after the data source, we can call it sales lead. Uh, we'll just say Copilot app, right? And then we'll wrap it in quotes, double quotes. So it's actually a literal text value. And as you can see, that's our new title for this app, and so on and so forth. So this is just a label. Um, and so we'll go back here. We can make changes to the features or basically the controls on this app. Here's our delete icon and here's our edit icon. As you can see, it's running an update context on select, right? And we're putting the form into edit mode um, based on the selected gallery record. What else can we do? So one feature that I wanted to add here. So for instance, if I go into play mode and I search Homer, right? When it's all said and done, I want to be able to clear this text, right? So how do I do that? Okay, so I can come in here and do an insert. And let's say what we have here. I can do I can refresh, or in this case, let's just go with a simple button. And well, where should I put that button? Maybe I can put it here. I can say clear, uh, clear text, right? Just to demonstrate what this functionality can be. So we'll say clear text. Width, we'll give it about 80. I hope it, oh, it's too little. Let's reduce our font size and we'll just, and then we'll round we'll give our border radius maybe a 10. yeah, to kind of fall in line with the header. As you can notice, our containers have rounded edges. Maybe 10 border radius is a little too much. Let's give it 5. I think 5 is looks it's not too rounded and it's not too square either. All right. We'll do something with the position later. That way it kind of moves and stretches. It repositions itself as the screen stretches back and forth. But essentially, we're going to make sure that this search input, we clear it when we click on this button here. Okay. All right. All right. So basically, we're going to need the name of this text input control. That way we go over here to this button and I'll just call this one BTN clear text, right? BTN, yeah, clear text is fine. TXT. So on select, right? As you notice, there's all these properties out here, but in this case, we want the on select property for this button. So we go on select and I want to reset and then paste the name of the text box or the text input control. That way, when I come in here and I do a search for Homer, yes, I have that. I can see Homer in here. Let's say I want to go and search for someone else. Instead of coming in here and actually, doing this, I can actually also just hit on clear text to clear this section here. I can come in here and I say, hey, I'm looking for Mike Johnson. Once I have Mike Johnson, I can click on clear, right? So that's something that CoPilot basically forgot to do, but luckily we can actually do this ourselves. So again, CoPilot, as I mentioned, CoPilot is really great in a lot of things, but also, uh, sometimes it'll give you a good start, and then from then you can actually proceed to enhance your app. All right, so that's what I wanted to kind of go through and take a look at. Uh, this will be a short video. Oh, actually, the data source, which is the Dataverse table, right? This is what it looks like, right? So here we have this interface that kind of reminds me of several Microsoft products. It reminds me of SQL Server, for those who have a background in SQL Server. It also reminds me of Microsoft Excel, which is basically this grid interface which never goes away. I mean, this is straight to the point. It's a grid, right? It's got columns and it's got rows. That's it. Um, so remember we added Homer Simpson here. So that's Homer. We can add a new row. We can add a new column. We can edit table properties, actually. Yeah, we can do that here. All right. Yeah, these are things you can't change because they're grayed out. But you do have a lot of functionality here, a lot of ability to do many things, right? If you go and say new column, you can add a new column, choose your data type. So this part here reminds me of Microsoft, of SharePoint, of a SharePoint list, actually. Yeah, so this also reminds me of a SharePoint list. You can add your column, choose your data types, formatting, behavior, uh, whether it's required or not, advanced options. I mean, this is amazing, right? This interface basically is presenting you with things you're familiar with. Look at it, it's created by. You can include that to make sure. Well, let's just do that and say who created this column. We have a currency column here. owning team, owning user, business unit, right? Status reason. Yeah, and this was all created by Copilot, you know? This is all created by Copilot. So see, the data source has refreshed itself, and the all right, so the app itself will not automatically assume these new fields we just created, right? All these new columns. Okay, make sure I don't get this again. Automatically, these form fields are not going to have all these new fields that we added, but guess what? We can add them from here. All right, so I can come in and do a created by. Let's see here. Owning business unit. Remember in the last video, I was wondering whether to add a sales unit, but then we actually said, well, these guys are all sales guys. But I guess you can break it down to additional units. All right, so let's hit add, and voila, we have our new columns. Okay, we did have some errors initially, but it looks like the errors are gone. I also just noticed that I have an extra E here, sales leads Copilot app. All right. So we'll just go ahead and do this again. So again, let's go here and edit Homer Simpson account and active. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, everything just came out just right. Created by, owning business unit, status reason. So, I mean, the UI created by Copilot is decent. It's not, it's not bad, right? It's not poor. It's standard. Could be better, but again, this is a good foundation for you to build your app in and enhance it. As you saw, we added our clear text button here. In the next video, I'm going to make sure that this kind of, changes position when based on the screen width and so on and so forth. But yeah, you can go ahead and add your icon, your business company icon in here, push your text a little to the right. And, heck, we can even ask you, do you really want to delete this this record once you click on this button here, etc., etc. So in a nutshell, AI is pretty cool. We'll build another AI app in the next video.